Hi guys, Samantha from Summer Tutorials here, and today I'm going to show you how to create just a cute little beach pendant using resin. Now this video is due to me being sent this fantastic UV resin, and I'll be using it today in today's video. Now I did get it for free. There is a coupon code and a link to where to get it in the description below. And we're also going to be testing out the coloured resins, which work a lot better than alcohol inks. I do still use alcohol inks, but these are definitely better because they cure better. So we have a blue and a white today, but there's a bunch of different colours that you can get. So anyway, with that out of the way, let's start the tutorial. So I've got this bezel here, and as you can see, it's got a translucent back, and I want to use that today. Now I've just got a piece of tape here, and I will place it down onto the tape and press down like so. Then just trim away the excess. Now you can use any shape bezel you want. I've chosen the rectangle one because I'm partial to it, but any bezel shape will work. Also any colour bezel will work. It's completely up to you and your preference. You don't even have to use a bezel with a clear back. You can use one that actually has a backing, so you don't have to worry about the tape. If you have one that already has a proper back, then skip this tape step. Okay, so now I'll just pop this here, and I might actually zoom in so that you can see a bit better. And the first step that I want to do is just to pop in a very thin layer of clear resin. Now this bezel that I'm using is pretty deep. You do want to be aware of how deep your bezel is, because if it's not very deep you can't do a lot of layers. And then I'm going to be using tweezers and other tools out of the way so that I don't have to wear gloves. Gloves are very uncomfortable for me, so that's why I'm not wearing them. If you can wear them, I would highly recommend it with resin. I don't, because they're these big baggy things that never fit my hands, and they do also make me itch terribly. So that's why I'm not using gloves, and I'll have tools so that I am far away from the resin. But if you can use gloves, I highly recommend it. So anyway, you'll take a tool and just spread it out, and don't worry about air bubbles at this point. You can easily blow them out with a hairdryer. You can use a torch. I don't tend to use that because, well, main reason I'm scared to light everything on fire. But you can use a torch to quickly blow over the top, and that will get rid of the bubbles. And another thing that I do like to use is a heat gun on the hottest setting. That also works very well. Okay. Once you've spread it out, you'll pop it into your UV light for about a minute just to set it. Now I have already set this, and so it's somewhat cured. It will still take fingerprints though, because I haven't cured it completely. It's cured enough, but you don't want to be fingering it. Then I'm going to bring over some mica powder. So I've got some blue colour shift powder here, and then just some blue, regular blue mica powder. And so I'm just going to open those up. And just be careful when doing that. Okay. And then I've also got a brush. Now I'm going to be using the dark blue around the top of the pendant, because this is where I plan to have my ocean water. So I'll just pop a little bit of that on, and then just streak it down like so. And because the resin is semi-cured, enough that it's cured through but it's still a little bit sticky, the mica powder should stick to it like so. There we go, and that should be enough. I just want it mainly at the top, and then just kind of streaked down. Pop that to the side. Bring over my colour shift powder, and this is not going to add a lot of colour. It will, let me just pop this down. I'm going to cover the entirety of the rest of the pendant with that, but if I twist it around, hopefully you can see there how it has almost like a moonstone effect to it. But yeah, I'm going to brush that over the rest of the piece, and then we can move on to adding the resin again. There we go. Then I'm going to bring over the blue coloured heavy resin, and you want to pop that down. Actually, there's my tweezers so I can hold this. You want to pop that down on the blue pot and just like fill about half of the pendant. Now you could use just clear here, but using the blue coloured resin makes the transition between those mica powders much better. So that's why I don't just simply use clear, because over here you can't really tell that it's blue. It does intensify the blue a little bit, but it really shows up once you move on to the colour changing part, and you can see that there is a nice strong blue. Okay, then you can go in and pop the bubbles that you can. I wouldn't worry about that too much right this second, because if you leave them for a bit they'll actually rise. So I'll leave that for the moment. And the next step is actually going to be to mix up our sand. And so I've got a little bit of sand here, and I got this from the beach. I think you can get this from scrapbooking stores. You can even buy it online, I believe. But if you can get yourself some real sand, that's generally the best thing. So I'm just going to pop a little bit down. And I'm doing this on a ceramic tile, and in such a place that I can cure this with my UV lamp later, so that I can pick it up off the tile, at least the excess that we don't end up using. That's aside, and then I will be bringing over the clear resin this time, and I'll just pop that down over the top. And I do want to mix that in instead of just kind of popping the resin on top. And so just mix that in like so. And this will create air bubbles. So the less vigorously you mix the better, but it will most likely create air bubbles. Bring this back over, and then you're just going to scoop that into place. And I'm actually going to bring over a scoop to do that. And this metal tool will work just fine. And just pop that into the bottom like so. And I would recommend letting it rest for a bit, just so that those bubbles can rise to the surface, and then you can take care of that with your heat gun or air dryer or anything along those lines. But if you leave it long enough, they will actually just kind of pop on their own. So it's up to you how long you want to leave it. There you go. I like to put in a decent amount so I can barely see any of that colour changing powder in the background, because I don't really want to see a lot of that. And I'll work it over so that it's a little lopsided. I think the pendant just looks better when you do that. Here we go. Now let that sit for a bit and clean up. Okay, and a lot of the bubbles have popped, and will continue to pop. Last step for adding the alcohol, the resin at least, is to add this white. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that down. And it's not a very strong white, it's just kind of cloudy. I'll just pop that down over there so that it's overlapping the sand and the coloured area. And then just kind of swirl it into the background, like so. Also kind of mix the sand up a little bit so it's a little bit tossed and turned. You don't have to add the white, it's completely up to you. Okay, Then the next step is just going to be to add kind of a focal point. Now you can use a shell charm for this if you can't get real shells or coral, but I do have some real stuff on hand, and so that's what I will be using. But if you don't have access to that, a charm works really well, and sometimes that might be your personal preference. So if you prefer that, then by all means go ahead and do that. Okay. I'm just gonna pop that down, and I'll be using my tweezers to embed that in so that I am not touching the resin at all. And just get it nice and soaked in there like so. If you push it down a little bit, it almost semi-embeds into the sand as well, which is quite nice. Excuse me. Okay, then the last step is going to be to add a little shell. Now the trick with this is to add one that is not too deep for your bezel. And I'm just going to use this cute little, almost semi-transparent shell, and just position that right down near the corner over there. I also have this other little kind of grey one, which is sticking to my tweezers because I have a little bit of resin on it. It's fine, you can just flip that up the right way. There we go. Okay, and just kind of cover your shell with the resin, because a lot of the time these things change colour once you put resin on them. So it's better to make sure that they're submerged in the resin, and you can see roughly what it's going to look like before you cure the resin, because if you don't like it, you can always take it out at this point. But there we go. I'm going to pop that into the UV light for about another 2 minutes, and then once that's set, we can just kind of cover the top, give it a nice bevel, and we'll be done. There we go. Then the last step is to just take your clear resin and just to pop a generous dose on there, because we want this to have a nice beautiful bevel to it. Okay, and that should be enough. You want a little less than you think you need, just so that you can always add more, but if it accidentally spills, it's a lot harder to fix. So then just drag that out to the edges, make sure that it covers everything. And I like to keep it inside the walls of the bezel if I can, but it's not completely necessary. There we go, that's a nice clean bevel. Then it's very important, this step, to make sure that you don't have any bubbles before starting, because there's no covering them up once you're done here. So there we go, I think that was the only bubble. Yeah. Then you want to pop that into the UV light, and you want to leave it there for at least 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure that it's completely solid. Then after you've done that, you want to turn this over so that it's tape side facing up, and you want to pop that in for another 5 minutes just to make sure that the back is completely cured before you take the tape off. Okay, and it is. So the front should be completely smooth, you shouldn't have any drag there. And the back, we are just going to very gently peel off the tape. And you're going to get some of that sticky stuff still on there, but you can clean that off. So let me do that quickly. Okay, and there. Once you've cleaned up the back, I use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a wet rag just to gently wipe it. Careful not to get any of that residue on the front. If you do, you will need to pop another little coat of resin over just to clear up any smudges that you may have created. So just be careful not to get it on the front. But yeah, that is basically it. You can then pop a bail on here and string it onto a chain, anything that you like. Here's another one that I did in a silver tone, And this one I skipped the really dark mica powder and only went with the colour changing one and the blue alcohol inks, the blue coloured resins. So yeah, you can see the difference there if you wanted to skip the really dark mica powder. You can also see here what it looks like with a silver bezel rather than a gold one. Personally I prefer the gold one, but it's completely up to personal preference. So yeah, that's basically it for today's tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please do let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in this resin, there is a link in the description below along with the coupon code for a percentage off. And if you'd like to support this channel as well, I supply a bunch of my own tools on my Etsy store, as well as a membership on YouTube and on Patreon where I have exclusive tutorials that are a little bit more complex than the ones on YouTube, and that really helps support this channel going forward. So if you're interested in joining that would be highly appreciated. If you can't, please leave a like on the video. It's free and also greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.